Billy just summoned my cat. Sorry. All right. No music in the opening here, but we'll see. Okay, Kiki. You want to say hi? Okay. You say so. Is it better? Yeah. Yeah. This is what you wanted. Want snuggles? Okay. 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 Good girl. Thanks for coming to say hi, Kiki. Okay. Anyway. Let's begin. Whoa. Okay. A man steps on a stage and taps a microphone. Good evening. Before we begin the game, there are a few announcements. First, due to unexpected circumstances, the part of the player will be performed by an understudy. A couple of audible groans and one muffled boo erupt from the audience. Boo! Now, there's no need for that. This kid may not be a star yet, but I've seen her rehearse, and I can guarantee that she'll impress you. She may not have had time to memorize any of her lines, but, well, neither have any of you. Ha 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 ha. Second, we'd like to warn you that this production features a significant amount of obscenity. But before all the parents in the audience begin covering their children's ears, know this! The stage is enchanted such that the obscenities can only be heard by those of sufficient emotional maturity to handle the hearing of them. And finally, the writing room would like to issue an apology for failing to complete the script before this performance. They are working on it as I speak, so it is my pleasure to announce that tonight's performance is also a race. Who will win? The writers furiously working to finish the script, or the performers attempting to perform it? I can't answer that question, but I can announce that the race begins now. We hope you enjoy the game. Where should you start? You are walking through the woods, when the world around you shattered. This was both alarming and inconvenient. Isolated on a lone stretch of ground, you were transfixed as the broken landscape began to rearrange itself. Your eyes followed trees and hills, collapsing lines of three as if the forest you knew were a knot becoming carefully untangled. You dared not move from your position as the ground beneath your feet quivered in anticipation of shattering further. You passed the time this way for who knows how long. Until the court slid into view. At first, you weren't sure you could trust your eyes. But there it was, a great shining structure among the roiling landscape. Something stable and enclosed. A shelter. You kept your eyes on it, hoping it would draw close enough that you might peer into its windows. Surprisingly, the court appeared able to move freely through the broken landscape, disregarding lines of three as it approached your position. Yeah, but I want to do the tree, though. And just as it came near, the shattered landscape lurched. With little warning, the forest had snapped back together as if someone had pulled the knot of reality tight once again. Except, by now it wasn't the forest you knew. It was hardly even a forest. You stood, stretched, and began to hike towards the court. AP Thompson presents. This reminds me of that one puzzle game that we played a couple of NextFests ago that Kuro ended up really enjoying. Where it's kind of like, it's not like Minesweeper, but it's like you're completing a giant like picture in like segments. It's obviously not the same kind of gameplay, but it just reminds me of that game. I don't remember the name of it though. Later, while the sun hovered low over the horizon, there was a feast within the walls of the court. Hoping to avoid any attention, you sought out a more isolated part of the hall. Proverbs, yes, you became obsessed with that. Yep. So obsessed that you ended up playing the game that creator made before that. An empty table near an exit where no one would pay you much mind. A sound plan, except... Oh my god, oh fuck! The hall was soon overflowing with people, and your table was no exception. The young man seated to your right began engaging you in idle conversation. The weather, how you found the meal, the role of the individual in society, how you preferred to make your bed, those sorts of subjects. Eventually, he inquired about how you came to arrive at the court. Which answers my question quite thoroughly, while raising many more, he says as you conclude your tale. But forgive me, you haven't actually finished your story, have you? You admit that there's a little bit more, though you have yet to make sense of it. The people within the court were earnest but odd. After your arrival, you attempted to get some answers about your whereabouts and the strange circumstances outside, except they spoke mostly in riddles and nonsense, didn't they? They did. Let's find out where you are. A pair in front of a blackboard discussing magic. A woman in a helmet doing her taxes. Question mark at a picnic table. A man resting in the shade of the wall. Or a small cat bathing in the sun atop the walls. Cat. Said small cat. Wow. Ah, Your questions are numerous, but inconsequential, for they miss the current crises. Wow. What crises? Why, the crises wherein my dinner is late. Oh my god, that is the greatest of crises. Wow. It is so late, in fact, that I'm not certain the concept of dinner isn't something I invented in a fugue of hunger. Wow! All other societal issues are mere trivialities in comparison to my plight. Please, stranger, might you fill my bowl, thus ending this ravenous standoff? A woman behind you laughed. Oh, don't listen to him. He's been fed twice today already. Damn. Yeah, bowl's literally fucking full. Next, you... Hold on. Are you seriously going to tell me about every individual conversation you had in excruciating detail? Excruciating detail? No. No, he's right. You can skip most of this. What's important is what happened next. Finding no immediate answers inside the court, you moved to the top of the walls and looked outward. Perhaps there was something you could see from this vantage that would shed more light on your situation. To the contrary, conditions outside the walls were even stranger than they were at the time of your arrival. The rest of the shattered landscape had now melted away. The court stood alone amid a void. But not for long. Like a rush of water, new surroundings began to surround. Oh my god. Oh my god. Much of the new topography was familiar to you. You could identify fields, water, woods, and hills. But there was something else to see. A menacing group of other courts were also a part of the landscape. You were not alone in noticing these towers. Someone shouted, "The war! The war! The war is here!" Someone else, "That can't be! Puck said no wars until we find the queen!" Then perhaps we should explain to them that to them, surrounded by the enemy on all sides and bereft of an obvious course of action, the people of the court began to pray. A man stepped forward and offered the first prayer. "I genuinely wish for no harm upon our enemy. I merely pray that they would fade into obscurity." Wow, I didn't expect that to work, but thanks. The woman named Robin offered the next prayer. My notes are quite clear on this. Prayer does not work. Our time is much better spent steering the court. Remember, their soldiers cannot cross water. We should try to take shelter behind a moat until the tide comes in. There, now that river protects us from nearly half of the field. Hills should also slow their advance, so for my next prayer... But the next prayer did not belong to Robin. The next prayer belonged to the cat. Oh, so long as we are making demands of God, then my wish as ever is to be fed! Psst, hey. You probably didn't notice, but something just happened over here. What happened is, by matching the fields, the court has just acquired more food. Similarly, the other parts of the battlefield can be matched to earn water, food, or coin, I guess. Whatever the orange, so is that an orange? None of these fairies in the court will tell you this. Their religion forbids them from acknowledging the existence of the user interface. But I'm a secular tooltip. I fear no god. I'll do my best to provide you with this vital information. Nice. You're welcome. Well, yes, more of that, please. More of that, please. Oh my god, we're dead. Robin then bemoaned the loss of the moat, and we face even more of the enemy than before. Why must I bother? The scholars at the blackboard now chimed in. We've identified the most strategically sound location. This spot right here. If we just steer over there carefully, we should be fine. Sitting pretty. But Robin interjected. Stop! Look at the clock! It's almost low tide! We have time left for only one more move! Hello again. So the clock and the time left Robin alludes to is, in fact, this unassuming progress bar at the edge of your vision. Much like in life, every move you make will deplete some of your remaining time. If we have only one prayer left, what do you suggest we ask for? We might as well pray for a miracle. Wow, that's a start. Apologies, but another explanation. From me, your humble tooltip is in order. The previous move chained multiple matches together. Because of this, you've earned some bonus time. For the fairies of the court, this might as well be a miracle. Is there any chance that we could do that again, whatever that was? But there was no such chance. The next prayer would be the last one. Incidentally, the next prayer also belonged to you. Unsure of what any of this really meant, you imitated the people around you and made a pointless decision. The battlefield snapped together as the court snapped to attention. Places, everyone! Windows were shuttered, doors were slammed, large swaths of people emerged from further inside and formed a line near the gates. A tap on your shoulder. One of the scholars. We could use some help in the dressing room if you have a free hand. Along with the scholars, introduced to you as Hop and Skip, you sorted through a large pile of costumes, props, and weapons. Check the tag on that, would you? Make sure I put it together properly. Farmer, working, fairy, gathers food from fields. If it looks correct, feel free to hand it out. You handed the bundle of farmer's apparel to the first person in line. Unperturbed by the idea of harvesting wheat in the middle of battle, they whistled as they marched out to the front gate. Now do it again. Deploy another farmer. Now see if this one fits anybody. Soldier, offensive, fairy, attacks the enemy. You handed a bundle of armor and weapons to the next person in line. She tested the weight of the weapon in her hand. I haven't received any training, so I'm just planning to hit anything that doesn't belong to us. Sounds like a plan. After this minimal preparation, the scholars considered their work finished. I'd place your chances of survival somewhere near abysmal, but I'm afraid that this is the best that we can do. A small mercy, at least, that the Queen isn't here to witness this. And so you waited with the others for the battle to commence. Hello, I must pester you one more time before I take my leave. Observe, this is the undo button. Use it to change your mind as many times as you wish before starting the battle. However, the official editorial position of this tooltip is that you are liable to lose no matter how many times you change your mind presently. When you're ready to lose, use the play button to proceed to the battle. Alright, you got it. Press this button when you're prepared to die. Now, I'll leave you in peace. But, should you ever desire the company of your loyal tooltip, all you need to do is click and hold over any button or tile, and I'll do my best to explain it to you. Alright, great. Thanks, tooltip. Commence battle, do it. Yeah, we're looking pretty fucking dead there, brother. Well, dang old reckon we are DED dead. And then, some time later, as the sun hovered low over the horizon, there was a feast within the walls of the court. The man to your right is beside himself with laughter. Okay, so our court, caught off guard by a sudden war, stumbled behind enemy lines, made a token attempt at resistance, and was summarily toppled. Do I have that right? Yeah, DED dead. Yes, that does appear to be an accurate summary. Well then, I'm certainly glad I slept through that. As you look at your surroundings, a switch flips in your mind. Your own story makes little sense now that you think of it. How did you... Your companion pats on your arm. Don't worry about it. If our court couldn't withstand a physical destruction, we couldn't last 5 minutes within the pull of the tide. Or we wouldn't last 5 minutes within the pull of the tide. Enough of that. It's about time I made some introductions. As you've narrowly avoided learning, this place is called Titanium Court. Meanwhile, I have the honor of being the steward of the court. My name is Puck, although my lovers and enemies called me Goodfellow. I'm chief advisor and friend eternal to our fair queen. As fancy as that sounds, in practice it means he's unemployed. One of the scholars, the man named Hop, has approached your table. He appears to have a drink or two, or 4. He pulls up a seat between the two of you and assumes a jovial posture. Guess the queen stood us up, eh? Hey, good fellow, lucky for her, I'd say. I'd skip town too if I knew what a sorry showing the court would make. But on the plus side, we can continue draining her wine cellar. Now, if you're gonna help me with that, good fellow, or are you just gonna stare at me? I don't mind either way. Puck, staring at the scholar, mouth agape, slowly inhales and pinches his nose. What fools these. How drunk are you, Hop? The queen is right here. I've been speaking to her for the entire feast. An excited hush falls over the entire crowd. Hop blinks, looks at you, looks at Puck, turns bright red. Oh, I see it now. That calls for Her Majesty's finest vintage. I'll be right back. As Hop makes a quick exit, you look steadily at Puck and shake your head. There's no use denying it now, not after the tale you told me. If you'd like more proof, just take a look at where you're seated. You slowly take in your surroundings. Reckon we might be queen, Puck smiles. Now, if I may conclude my introductions, let me introduce the court to your majesty and likewise. He stands up and addresses the entire hall as he says, Long absent, the queen of Titanium Court, always a stranger, has arrived. Cheers erupt and the dessert is served. This game is weird, but pretty darn cool. To your left, Hop returned with an armful of glasses and bottles. And about time, too, good fellow. Did you tell her about the war yet? Chapter 1, a place beloved only of clowns and criminals. And then, just a short while after the feast, the court returns to war. Oh boy, war! You're in charge of the war now, Your Majesty. You should be fine. Just remember everything we've taught you about magical warfare. Blinking slowly, you remind them that, at this exact moment, they have taught you roughly nothing about magical warfare. Ah, good. She remembers quite clearly. While the field is broken, arrange it to your advantage. Consult the ever-changing map? I don't know. Water pulls minds and concepts through the veil. Wood, fashioned into a club with which you may speak softly. Food makes bodies tall and strong. Stone absorbs impacts, losses, and eons. Monarch, offensive job, turn property damage into profit. Earn money when you destroy castles. Okay. Money, immortal magic, power sustained by collective hallucination. We could get rid of the water, but I mean, it indicated before that the water protected us, possibly. You don't know what any of this means. Oh, great. Well, the field is broken. Arrange it to your advantage. Okay. I thought that it said that we got money for destroying castles, and we did destroy a bunch of them, so I don't know why that didn't do it, but I'm going to do this. If I could get this over to the left, that would be pretty nice. Unlikely, though. Destroying castles during the combat phase, not the match 3 phase. Oh, whoa, 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 yeah, okay. A stump, a seat announcing the new beginnings, the soapbox of the natural world. Okay. Low tide. Make preparations for the coming battle. I don't know. Play. Sure. Nice. Doot doot. Well, having now achieved some kind of victory in the war, you wonder if someone in the court might help you return home. It would be our pleasure if you could show us the way. Also, that was only one battle. There are many more to come if my notes are to be trusted. Okay, well, if you understand this map correctly, even if it is a map, if it even is a map, there appears to be some sort of signage just ahead. Perhaps if you can reach those signs, you can learn more about where you actually are, along with how to get home. And to reach them, we need to merely be swept forward by the tide, as we have been all along. Convenient. Looks a lot like the one you've rented in the past. Okay, this game seems pretty cool. I think I've got the gist of it, though, maybe? So is this what we want? Like, do we want this exact seas or something, or what? Is it just we want a cloud to the left? I don't know. No, I think we get the gist of it. No. I like it. Pretty unique. So it's like a... What was that game about? I'm completely confused. It's like a storytelling... Like, it's got the match 3 elements, right? And it's got a puzzle component. And it also has a storytelling component. And then it also has kind of like an auto-battler component.
Yeah, kind of like an auto-battler component. Yeah. Send out the units. They fight automatically. Uh-huh.
And they... And then you kind of make progress potentially towards figuring out whatever the puzzle component is of that map. Maybe reveal story elements. I mean, the whole like intro to the game is indicating that it's like just a storytelling kind of like random kind of stuff kind of a game is like the indication. That's what I got out of it anyway. So. And it's also like a bit of a comedy. Some of the writing kind of reminds me of like Hitchhiker's Guide-esque a little bit. Not the whole thing, but just like there's some portions of it where it's like the silliness coming through. So yeah, I don't know. It was kind of neat. So it's like a match 3 puzzle storytelling auto battler kind of game. A lot of different stuff going on. Pretty darn unique. But I liked it. Later in the demo, you get to choose your one of 3 battlefields, so it's not completely random. Okay. It's definitely a bit of a difficult one to explain, but I don't know. I thought that one was definitely pretty unique and interesting. I feel like it's kind of like a 4. It's at least a 3, but I like it. I don't know if it's one that we would really do on stream, but it's definitely a pretty unique one. Maybe it's I don't it's not. I'm trying to think if I feel like it's a 3 or a 4, but it's really good though. It's look at the description, by the way. It says a surreal strategy game for clowns and criminals. The story was confusing to me. It's literally supposed to be confusing because it's like an improvisational story, canonically. It's surreal. It's unique for sure. I'm just not sure that it's fun. I think it's fun. I think it's pretty fun. I like the... I mean, I was having fun doing the voices. Hopefully you were having fun with me doing them. And I think it's kind of an interesting thing. Either way, I had a really good time with it. Maybe we'll play that again on stream. I don't know. Seems like it could be a Patreon type of game or something. But yeah, I recommend checking it out if that looks interesting to you.